last video of the chapter number 5, that is the principles of inheritance and variation. The next and the last most topic of this chapter, that is the genetic disorders, right? So in the genetic disorders we are going to see different types of disorders, right? The first is pedigree analysis, right? Pedigree analysis, this analysis is a system to analyze the distribution and movement of characters in a family tree. Now whenever you visit to a doctor, right, for example, if a particular person is going through diabetes mellitus, right, what happens, that particular person or patient, when he moves or when he goes to the doctor, the first thing that the doctor does is to understand the family history of that particular person, right? So that family history is being understood by this pedigree analysis, right? So this is to analyze how the distribution and movement of character occurs in the family, right? That means from one generation to the next generation. So a record of inheritance of certain traits for 2 or more generations presented in the form of a diagram or family tree is called pedigree. So in the form of diagrams, they are depicting or they are analyzing the particular that means the record, right? That they are keeping a record that this type of family history is being observed, and that family history is being formed by a diagram or by certain, like we can say, you can see here that I have drawn several parts, or we can say several symbols, right? So these symbols are depicting each and every different thing, right? So the square is said to be the male. That means whenever if a particular couple is having a male son, or for example a son, right, then that is depicted as square, right? And if that particular couple is having a daughter, then it is depicted as circle, which is depicting the female, right? So for male it is square, for female it will be circle. For diamond shape it is the sex unspecified. That means whether it is male or female, they don't know. At that time the diamond shape is used. Now this particular three, and when they are shaded red, they are said to be the affected individuals. That means they are the ones who are the carriers, or we can say who are being affected by that particular disease. Then when a line is being crossed, or when the line is being drawn between the male and female, that is depicting what, the mating or the intercourse, right? And when the particular two lines are drawn, then it depicts that the mating is being carried out between the two relatives, right? That is said to be the consanguineous mating, right? The next is, this is said to be the upper two are said, that is, this is a male, this is a female. They are being married with each other and they are having daughters, that is children, one daughter and one son. So in order of birth, left to right, that means from left to right when we are running, what we can say, this is a male, this is a female, they are having mating, they got married, they mate, and they had 2 children, right? The one was daughter and the one was that is son, right? So these are said to be the parents, and these are the below ones are said to be the children. The next is, this is depicting the male, female, the mating, and they are giving rise to a affected, as it is square, it is said to be male. So this is affected male, right? So this is the parents, this is the child, so they are giving rise to an affected male child, right? And this is the last, that is a diamond shape is been drawn, and in that it has been written as 5. That means the 5 offsprings which are being formed, they are unaffected, right? So these are all the terminology or all the symbols which are used for a particular character, right? Okay. Now this is, I have written here autosomal dominant trait and autosomal recessive trait. So before going to this pictures, or we can say the diagrams, right? First we need to understand is the dominant and the recessive. Dominant means the one which is being expressed, and the recessive means it is not expressed, right? So one thing you have to keep in mind, that whenever a dominant word comes, it is expressive, and when it is recessive, it is not expressive. Okay. Now going with the first figure, here what you can see is the male is not affected, but the female is affected, right? So that means the dominance of this particular trait, or for example for any of the particular trait, right, this particular female is carrying the genes, right? So it is being passed, this particular daughters, right? This is one daughter, this is second daughter, and the two sons, right? So this couple is having 4 children, 2 males and 2 females, right? Amongst them, one male is affected and one female is affected, right? So when this particular male is not affected, when he is going for the marriage and when his children comes, they are not going to have any of the dominance of this particular trait, right? Because the genes are not passed to this particular son, right? But what happens here, from the mother, this daughter is gaining, or for example is having the inheritance or having the particular genes of that trait. What happens when she gets married to some other man, what happens, she gives birth to 3 children, right? Amongst them, one will be affected, means from whoever is going to have that particular genes of that particular trait, right? Those are said to be the autosomal dominant trait. That means if it is passed, then it is going to pass through either one of them, right? Maybe there are chances that 2 of them can also have the trait, or maybe there are chances that 3 of them can also have the trait, right? So as they are expressing in the particular generation, this was the first generation, this is second, and this is third generation, right? So as they are passing from generation to generation, it is said to be autosomal dominant trait, because from starting it was dominant, right? For this reason it was being passed to the first generation and also it was passed to the second generation, right? So it was all about the autosomal dominant trait. Next is autosomal recessive trait, where none of the parent is being affected, right? But what happens, it is not expressed in the parents, but they do contain the genes of that particular trait. When they are giving rise to the children, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. 5 children. They are giving rise to 5 children. Amongst them, these 2 of them are said to be the affected ones, right? But these are said to be non-affected ones. But it is said that if the traits are being passed or the genes are being passed into them, but if they are not expressing, then they are not going to be affected, right? But they are, in these 2 of them, it is expressing. For this reason, it was said to be affected. Now, this particular daughter, right, of them, she is not affected. Now, she got married to a man and she had 3 children, right? 2 daughters and 1 son. Now, this son is having the particular trait or the genes of that particular trait. But it was not present in the parents, but it is expressed in the 3rd generation. This was the first, second, and this is the 3rd generation, right? So, this is depicting what, that even though there will be recessiveness of a particular trait, but what happens, they are expressing in few terms only, right? For this reason, it is said to be autosomal recessive trait. So, we saw 2 types of trait. Here, where the dominance is seen, that means it is expressing, and here it is not expressing. So, we have said it as a autosomal recessive trait, right? Okay. Now, the next type is Mendelian disorders, right? Now, the Mendelian disorders are mainly determined by alteration or mutation in the single gene, right? Means whatever alteration is taking place in the DNA, it occurs through that. And the second, that is the mutation which is taking place in the single gene. So, either it occurs through alteration, right? Or either it occurs through mutation. So, Mendelian disorders are occurring by 2 ways, either by the alteration of the particular chromosomes, or second, that will be mutation which is taking place in the particular gene. These disorders are transmitted to the offsprings on the same line as the principle of inheritance, right? Now, what happens? These disorders are passing from one generation to the next and next to next. So, this is what they are, the disorders as Mendelian disorders. Mendel, he understood what the principles of inheritance. That means one particular character passes from one generation to the next generation. So, same way here also, disorder also follows the same trend. What they do is, they also passes from one generation to the next. That means from parents to the offspring. The examples of Mendelian disorders are hemophilia, cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, color blindness, phenylketonuria, thalassemia, etc. Right? So, we are going to see few of them in detail. The first is hemophilia. Okay, hemophilia. It is recessive disease, right? Now sex-linked recessive disease means the particular sex chromosome, right, that is linked or that is having the particular gene, or we can say the recessive gene for this particular disease, right? So this is said to be the sex-linked recessive disease, which shows its transmission from unaffected carrier mother to some of the male progeny, right? So this particular disease is being transmitted from the female to the males only, right? This have some scientific reason behind it, right? So let's see behind. Hemophilia is a disorder in which a vital factor for clotting of blood is lacking, right? Now when you are getting any of the injury, the first thing that comes out is the blood, right? So what happens after few times, what happens, it stop itself, right? If you are not doing anything, then also it will stop. Means the blood is getting clotted. But what happens in this particular type of disease, the particular person is lacking what the factor for clotting of the blood. That means whatever is responsible for clotting that blood, right? Whenever you get injury, the running blood is stopped, right? How it is stopped? By the clotting process, that is blood clotting process. But if that blood clotting is not taking place, that means the loss of blood is more, right? So in this type, that is hemophilia, what happens? The particular person is not having the factor for the blood clotting, right? So the clotting of blood is abnormally delayed and it can be fatal. That means the person, so if the blood clotting is not taking place, the blood is going to be released out, right? And the person becomes fatal. That means it can also lead to death. Bleeding can be checked by transfusion of the entire volume of blood or the clotting factor in concentrated form, right? Now before, what happens when the bleeding takes place, what happens? These particular people can, if the blood clotting is not taking place, what they do is, they are checking for the transfusion of the entire volume of the blood, that how much blood has been lost, or they are going for the clotting factor. That means they are searching for the clotting factor, that whether this particular person is having any abnormality related to this or not. But they need to check this clotting factor into the concentrated form. It should not be in the diluted form. The heterozygous female is carrier for hemophilic and may transmit to the disease to the sons, right? Heterozygous female, right? Heterozygous female, she will be the carrier of this particular disease, right? And she will be said to be the hemophilic, and this particular hemophilia, the genes for hemophilia are being transmitted from her to her sons, right? The example of this particular disease is the family pedigree of Queen Victoria, which shows a number of hemophilic descendants as she was the carrier of the disease, right? What happens? This particular disease is was observed in Queen Victoria's family pedigree, that she was the carrier. Now she is already having XX, right? And the male is having XY. But when X comes, definitely one will be, both of them are same, right? Both of them are same. So X is going to go in the male, right? And one will be from the mother, one will be from the father. If from female, both of them are what? Same, that is XX. So both the genes are going to contain the hemophilia genes, right? So from both of them, if one is passing, from male, if X comes, it will be female. If Y comes, it will be male. But if X will be there, then there will be some dominance which is taking place of father on the mother. That means the expression of father's X occurs, and for this reason, the females are not expressing this type of particular disease. But what happens in the male? Only one single X will be present and one single Y will be present. For this reason, both of them express equally. And this reason, what happens? The females, the carrier females are readily very prone to give rise to diseased sons, right? That means they are passing this particular disease to sons. The second type of disease is sickle cell anemia, right? That is, it is an autosome-linked recessive trait. Autosome-linked, that means this is seen in autosomes which is having the recessive trait, that is autosomal recessive trait. But as it is linked with the autosomal chromosome, it is said to be autosome-linked recessive trait. It is due to a mutant allele on chromosome 11, that is autosomes, that causes change of glutamine, that is having GAG, to valine, that is having GUG, at the 6th position of beta chain of hemoglobin. Now your blood is made up, has a component which is known as hemoglobin, right? This hemoglobin is being made up of a chain which is known as beta chain. Now this beta chain have different positions, right? But here in this sickle cell anemia, there is a mutation which is occurring on the chromosome number 11, right? And due to this, it causes a change of glutamine to valine. That means the place where at the 6th position what has to be present? Glutamine. But instead, when the mutation takes place, what happens? Instead of glutamine, what is present? Valine, right? So at 6th position, the change occurs where the glutamine is not present, but instead of glutamine, what comes? The valine. And this creates a particular disease which is known as sickle cell anemia. The disease is controlled by a single pair of allele, HbA, that is normal. But HbS, that is carrier, and HbS, it is disease, right? Now this is HbA, that will be the normal person, which is containing what? The normal amount of, or the normal chain of the beta chain of the hemoglobin. HbS, that means half is present of the normal one and half is present of the diseased one. For this reason, they are prone, or they are said to be the carriers, that they can transmit from one generation to the next generation. But when it is present HbS, that means both of them are said to be diseased one. For this reason, what happens? These are going, in this particular, the hemoglobin shape is changed. The RBC shape is totally changed, right? The patient has sickle shaped RBCs with defective hemoglobin, and they are destroyed more rapidly than the normal RBCs. Now the normal RBCs are having the lifespan of 120 days, but what happens when a particular person is having sickle cell anemia, the RBC shape gets changed to sickle shape, right? In the next slide we will see the figure of that. And what happens? This RBC, instead of dying or instead of getting ruptured in 120 days, they rupture before that lifespan, right? That means rapid decrease of RBCs is observed, and there will be more loss of the blood. So this is normal RBCs, the structure and the normal HbA gene. This is the sickle cell, that is HbS. S stands for the sickle gene, right? And this, instead of your glutamine, here valine comes, right? So normally this is HbA peptide, that is hemoglobin A peptide. And this is HbF peptide, that is hemoglobin S peptide, right? This is the normal HB, that is, this is normal hemoglobin A gene. This is sickle cell hemoglobin S gene. What happens? This is GAG. Now, what will be coming on the opposite? G binds with C, A binds with T, and G binds with C. This is the DNA. So from DNA to DNA, it forms what? Another strand. From this, it forms the RNA. So G binds with C, A binds with T, and C binds with G. That means it is forming mRNA, and from this mRNA, it is forming a protein, that is a chain of peptide. Now this is the peptide, right? Total 7 positions have been observed. But in this particular GAG is forming the glutamine, right? But here, instead that, what happens? See here, GAG is there, but here GTG is present, right? So instead of A, what came here? T. And for this reason, the whole mRNA is also changed. That this G binds with C, this T binds with A, and this G binds with C. So here CTC was there, here CAC comes, right? As CAC comes here, GUG comes, where it should be GAG, right? And when this comes, the particular protein or the particular amino acid which has to be, the glutamine has to be on the 6th position. Instead of that, valine is formed at the 6th position. So normal the hemoglobin A gene contains glutamine at the 6th position. The sickle cell hemoglobin gene contains valine at the 6th position, and this creates the sickle cell anemia. You can see that this is biconcave shape, or you can say the round in shape. They are sickle shape. That means they are rupture type shape, right? Okay. The next is phenylketonuria. It is due to Next is phenylketonuria. It is due to a recessive mutant allele on chromosome 12, right? So the previous one was taking place on the autosome 11, right? This is taking place on the chromosome number 12, and they are also coming under the autosomes, right? The affected individual lacks an enzyme, that is phenylalanine hydroxylase, that converts the amino acid phenylalanine into tyrosine. Now this particular affected, the person which is affected by phenylketonuria, what they lack is, they lack an enzyme which is known as phenylalanine hydroxylase, right? That means they don't produce this enzyme which is responsible for the conversion of phenylalanine into tyrosine. That means there has to be a conversion of phenylalanine to tyrosine. But as this enzyme is not present in the particular affected person, what happens? This conversion is not possible. As a result, this phenylalanine and its derivatives accumulate in the cerebrospinal fluid, leading to mental retardation and are excreted in urine due to its poor absorption by kidney. What happens? As this conversion is not taking place, what happens? Phenylalanine is being not converted to tyrosine, and when the tyrosine is not formed, what happens? This phenylalanine stays in that form and it gets accumulated in the body, and which it's accumulated in the cerebrospinal fluid, right? And this is leading to the mental retardation. A particular person can undergo mental condition, right? And also this thing is being excreted in the urine. And why it is excreted out in the urine? Because this particular thing cannot be absorbed by the kidney. So this can create the phenylketonuria. That means the conversion of phenylalanine into tyrosine is not possible, or it is not occurring, as enzyme phenylalanine hydroxylase is being not produced, right? So this is all about the phenylketonuria. Okay, this is the last topic of this chapter, and that is chromosomal disorders. The first initial was the Mendelian disorders. These are said to be the chromosomal disorders. The previous one were the disease which were observed at the gene level, right? And all the diseases are observed at the chromosomal level. First is due to absence or excess or abnormal arrangement of one or more chromosomes, right? The chromosomal disorders occurs either due to the absence of a chromosome, either a more number of chromosomes are present, at that time also it occurs, or the arrangement is also not proper, at that time also chromosomal disorder takes place. A change in the number of chromosomes in an organism arises due to non-disjunction of chromosome during gamete formation. What happens? When the gamete formation takes place, the chromosomes are not properly paired with each other, and for this reason they get separated, and as they get separated, only few characters are passed, but half of the characters are not passed, and for this reason the chromosomal disorders take place. Now these are the two terms which you need to understand, because based on these two terms we are going to see three different types of syndromes, right? Aneuploidy, that means this arises due to loss or gain of one or more chromosome during gamete formation, right? This is either loss or gain of one chromosome, right? Now chromosomes are present in pairs, so one chromosome and second chromosome, they both are linked with each other. Now they are, from this both of them, either there will be a gain of chromosome, or there will be a gain of chromosome, or there will be a loss of chromosome, right? So that type is said to be aneuploidy. And the example is Down syndrome, where 47 number of chromosomes are present, right? And in Turner syndrome, 45. In one, the number of chromosome has increased, and in one, the number of chromosome has decreased, right? 23 plus 23, that comes to 46. But here, one is increased and one is decreased. And this was about the aneuploidy. Polyploidy means, in this, the number of chromosome is the multiple of the number of chromosome in a single cell, that is haploid. Accordingly, this may be haploid, diploid, or polyploid. That means here only one chromosome was either gained or lost, but here in polyploidy the whole pair gets either it is gained or either it is lost, right? So that is polyploidy, means along with the second. That means here only one chromosome getting either lost or gained. But here the whole pair gets lost or gained. Now we are going to see the three types of syndrome. The first syndrome is Klinefelter syndrome. This arises due to non-junction of X chromosome during ova formation. Right? Whenever the ovum is being formed, what happens? This X chromosome is not particularly joining or with the particular X. Right? Now this X chromosome, right? Two 6 chromosomes are also present in pair. That means one chromosome, second chromosome. This whole forms the X chromosome. Right? But here, what happens in the Klinefelter syndrome? One of them is lacking. And due to this, at which time it occurs? Due to at the time where the ova formation is taking place. When an ovum containing 2 X chromosome is fertilized by a Y-carrying sperm, XXY individual, that is 47, appears. Here what happens? Both the X chromosome are coming together, right? And along this ovum is having 2 X. Instead, it should have only 1 X. But when the gamete formation has the non-disjunction, the separation of the 2 X is not taking place. For this reason, what happens? The particular ovum is having both the X. So now the ovum is having both the X. Now from the male, that is from the sperm, what is going to come? Y. So already 2 X are there and 1 Y is added. So it forms XXY individual and it appears to be the total number of chromosomes as 47. Right? The symptoms of this type of syndrome are a male with underdeveloped breast. That means in the male the breast development is taking place but it is underdeveloped. Sparse body hair, that means they have hairs on their body. Mentally retarded and sterile. They are mentally retarded, that means their mental condition is not proper, and they are sterile. That means they are not able to reproduce. So this is the first type of syndrome. The second is Down syndrome. It was first described by Langdon Down in 1866. Right? It is due to trisomy of 21st chromosome. Trisomy means the occurrence. Trisomy. Normally 2 are present, but if 1 is added, then it is said to be trisomy, right? 2, it is present in pair. So that is said to be di. But if another is added, then it is said to be trisomy. Arising from non-disjunction of chromosome during gamete formation. What happens again here? The non-disjunction takes place, and for this reason, what happens in the 21st chromosome, instead of 2, 1 is also added, so this forms the triploid, that is trisomy. As the maternal age increases, the instances of non-disjunction increase. As the more number of age, for example, the particular mother's age is increased, this type of non-disjunction criteria or chances are seen. When such an ovum containing 2 21st chromosomes, that is 24, is fertilized by a normal sperm 23, the zygote 47 comes to possess 3 copies of 21st chromosome. What happens in here? The female is containing 221 chromosomes. Instead of that, she should contain only one particular. Means the gamete which is formed, or the gamete, that is the ovum which is formed in the female, it should contain only one 21st chromosome, right? But instead of that, 2 chromosomes are present. That means 221st chromosome are present. So instead it should be 23, but here it should be 20. Here it is 24. Instead, this particular ovum which is containing 24 chromosome, right, that is fertilized with the sperm that is containing 23, right? So 23 plus 24, that comes to 47. So the zygote is going to have 2 chromosomes of 21st from female and 1 from the male, right? So this forms the 3 copies of 21st chromosome, and that is said to be the trisomy, right? The symptoms of this type of syndrome is short stature with small round mouth. This particular person is going to have short height, right? And their mouth will be comparatively short. Their palms are comparatively broad with characteristic palm crease. There will be so many creases which have been observed in their palm. The physical, psychomotor and mental development is retarded. They are physically also not very developed. They are also mentally not well developed, right? That means their mental condition is also not proper. So this is all about the second type of syndrome, that is Down syndrome. The third and the last type of this syndrome is Turner syndrome. particular non-disjunction. That means the separation is not taking place of what? X chromosome. When an ovum carrying no X chromosome is fertilized by a sperm carrying X chromosome, a zygote with XO appears. Now the female is not having any X chromosome in that particular ovum. That means the sex chromosome is absent in the ovum. Now when that ovum is fertilized with the male sperms, what happens? The male is containing what? X chromosome, right? The sperm is containing X chromosome, but the female is containing no X chromosome, right? For this reason, the zygote which is formed, it will be appearing as XO, because only X from male is present, from female no X is there. So the symptoms of this type of syndrome is a female with rudimentary ovaries. That means those type of ovaries which are not well developed. Short stature, that their height will be short. Their lack of secondary sexual characters, right? They will be not having the secondary sexuals which are sexual characters which are found in the females. That means they are not going to develop the breast as well as the vaginal portions or the reproductive characters, and also they are sterile. That means they are not able to reproduce, right? So this is all about the 3 types of syndrome, or we can say the chromosomal disorders. And thank you for watching this video. I hope to see you again. Thank you.